Number 11, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Education and asks, will she wait until the Chief Ombudsman's investigation of the Ministry of Education's processes on school closures is complete before making a final decision on the Salisbury and Christchurch school closures?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Education, no.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. What advice has the Minister received on the possibility that Christchurch schools could launch a judicial review of her decisions to close them because, like with Salisbury School, the consultation with them has been a facade?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, far from, on behalf of the Minister of Education, the consultation with Christchurch schools has been comprehensive, as was evidenced by the changes that were made when the final decisions were put before them, and there is still a further consultation period to go.
Point of order.
Point of order, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I asked what advice the Minister had received about a potential judicial review. That question was not answered.
I'd invite the member afterwards to have a look at the question as well. She then talked about consultation being a charade, and the Minister chose to address that part of the question and challenged whether, in fact, he thought the consultation had been a charade. Further supplementaries?
Thank you, Mr Speaker. How can the Minister make a properly considered decision on which Christchurch schools are to close when at least 5 of those schools cannot make an informed submission because they are still waiting on vital geotechnical and population information from her ministry?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Education, there is a process that is used to close schools. That process is being followed as per usual.
Okay.
Supplementary question, Metiria Turei.
Why has Salisbury School been denied access to almost all of its 5-year funding since she decided to close the school? And is it because she is trying to close the school by stealth following the High Court ruling that her previous attempt was unlawful?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Education, no. Salisbury School continues to be funded. It is funded at the rate of as if it had 40 residents. It currently has 20.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. How can New Zealand students and parents trust her to make decisions on their school's future when her decisions have been ruled unlawful by the courts and her processes are now being investigated by the Chief Ombudsman?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Education, people who have a view and an opportunity to challenge it are free to do so.
Supplementary question, Te Uro Flavel. Order. I've called Te Uro Flavel supplementary question.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. Kia ora tātou. To the Minister, would the Minister consider
Order.
Would the Minister consider spending the estimated $6 million that has been associated with kura kaupapa Māori relocation costs to set up a new kura kaupapa Māori or a satellite of another kura rather than forcing one to uproot to another community?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, I'm not in a position to give a comprehensive answer to that question.
Question number 12, Grant Robertson.